Welcome back, Gale Force, and today we'll be talking about Astram, a unit from the Archanea games, and before we begin, there needs to be a brief disclaimer. In this video, I will only be discussing Astram's performance in Shadow Dragon and New Mystery of the Emblem, not how he plays in the original releases. With that being said, let's talk about his traits. In Shadow Dragon, Astram first appears as an enemy in Chapter 13 and can be recruited by talking to Medea. He has slightly below average bases, but a high starting sword rank of B, as well as a silver sword and worm slayer in his inventory. His growths focus on strength, skill, and luck, and his support options are Medea and Boa. Astram is pretty much the definition of a filler character when you recruit him. His personal bases aren't that much higher than Ogma's, who joins a whopping 9 chapters before him, and his high sword rank doesn't matter as much in a game where axes are practically non-existent after Chapter 8. This isn't to say he's unworkable. He's still a usable unit, and arguably your fastest ticket to having someone wield Mercurius without the effort of training Navarre or Athena. However, his reclass options are doing him no favors, and he's generally best used for a handful of chapters as a spare hand with a Wormslayer, and then set aside. In New Mystery of the Emblem, Astram appears in Chapter 16 as an enemy and joins when spoken to by George. His bases have gotten a facelift from Shadow Dragon, and his sword rank has been raised to A, allowing him to wield the Mercurius in his inventory right from the start. His growths focus on strength, skill, and luck, and he has a guaranteed 100% HP growth in his default class line. His support options this time around are Medea, George, and Chris. Looking at his bases, you might be inclined to think Astram is better than he was in Shadow Dragon, but the opposite is actually true. His bases only slightly outpace those of Sirius, who joins a minimum of 12 chapters before him. Moreover, his speed is actually somewhat low for a promoted hero, and with his average growth of 40%, even when reclassed to Sword Master, he doesn't consistently cap it. Many units will be close to his sword rank by the time he joins you, so even that isn't a huge point in his favor, and on any difficulty higher than normal, he should see the bench immediately after he joins, as he will be an active detriment to your army. In conclusion, Astram is a decent unit so long as you don't have endgame plans for him in Shadow Dragon, but a pretty awful unit in New Mystery. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the bell if you'd like to get notified when I post a new video. A special thank you to patron 60 Sweep and Gorilla Danny for subscribing at the Paladin tier. I'd really appreciate if you checked out the links in the description if you can. But otherwise, have a great rest of your day.